the chime in of Come and Take 'em. Here we are, folks, the Garage Kings. I'm Buzz Rankin.
And I'm the Common Patriot.
And the Garage Kings are back here on Garage Politics. It's a good week here in the garage. We got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We're pretty excited to get things going. But before we do, we just want to kick over and remind everybody you can check us out at www.garagepolitics.com. Now, I continue with that www because I always did, and everybody kept going, do you have to say it? I like it. I like saying www.
Then you do it, bro.
Then I do it that way. But also, if you're still used to the old way back in the prehistoric times when we were actually, well, when we had listeners, www.garagepolitics.net. That'll still take you there. Patriot's been working hard on that, actually, getting a lot of stuff there.
That link you see there right now, that's that test we did last week.
Okay.
In the middle of the page.
Yep.
That'll take you to Rumble.
Oh, okay. That's right. You got Rumble up and running, of course.
That goes to Rumble. So our show will always be posted at Rumble, first and foremost. We will be posting it at YouTube as well. It's also on the Facebook page and so on. And I didn't get as many tweets out this week, but then again, we don't have as many listeners, so it's okay.
Well,
Mom will live on the ones that she's got.
We're still new to the whole Twitter thing. I've never been I'm still having a hard time calling the pound sign a hashtag.
I know.
It's like hash browns. No.
You're them crazy hashtags. You know, we didn't have those things in my day, kiddo.
Yeah, tag some hash. No, that was bad. We don't do that here in the garage. I'm sorry. That was a terrible thing. So, but yeah, we're excited to be back, guys. This is our first truly official recording.
Yep.
So,
last week was the last test. This week we're live. We're off and running, man.
August 8th. Now, you'll hear us throughout the show saying we're live, we're back here, and we're doing like we did back when we first started the show. We're recording. Yes. And then right after the show, we're going to bounce it up, and it's going to be on our social media outlets, and kind of like I mentioned last week, until they basically ban us. You know, it's going to become a point they're going to do that.
Not on Rumble. I think
Rumble.
we're okay on Rumble. That's
I think
why
we're okay on
Rumble.
Rumble.
That first. And like I said, so we've got it on Facebook.
Yep.
I post the links on Twitter.
Yep.
I post the links on YouTube, on Rumble. If there's anything else, if we've got people out there that are just on Instagram or whatever it is or something, and you want me to put it on the link somewhere else, we'll work on that too. I think we were going to, at some point, set up a TikTok channel.
We're going to work on that. Actually, I think we were going to get with your son, Patriot Jr.
Oh, yeah. He gave me all kinds of ideas this week.
Yes.
He said I told him he's going to be the official marketing guy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So eventually, TikTok will be coming, of course. I think that's where we're just going to kind of cut up and
well, that's just so we can broadcast to the Chinese Communist Party.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, they run TikTok.
Excellent. I like that. So we're going to dive right in, folks. We're going to get started with our very first segment for this week, Faith, Where We Stand. All right, so what we figured is when we run this segment, this is just going to be a chance to, once again, I think we reiterated this last week, that this is our stance in the garage. If you don't like what you hear, don't listen. Don't really care. The beauty of it is you don't have to listen. But those of you that find it interesting, listen up, because this is faith and where we stand here in the garage. So basically, let's go back. Let's go back to the founding of America. Let's go back to the principle that has been lost, and it's now argued and scrutinized in today's modern society that the United States of America, is a Christian country. And it was founded on Christian principles. Let's go back only just a little bit. In 1990, 85% of Americans identified as being Christian. 85%. That's pretty good out of, only 15% not really identifying or a different type of religion. 2001, that dropped to 81%. 2012 went to 78%. And mind you, back in 1990 is when the whole movement really started of the let's take God out of school. Let's take God out of sports games. Let's take God out of things. That's when it started coming to light. It was being more vocal.
I would say it accelerated because, you can go quite a ways back. Really, I mean, if you want to get to the bottom of it, you can go all the way back to the progressives getting going. Right?
Okay.
It really started in the country. Wilson was a big driver from the progressive standpoint. But, you go back to Madalyn Murray O'Hair and others and taking prayer out of school, taking other things out of,
Right.
the Scopes monkey trial and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, your point is well made, and that is there was an acceleration in the 90s of change where it really became more aggressive. It's like that tipping point. I think they felt that they had gained enough traction in the society that they could start really pushing that agenda.
Absolutely. And then you go and you hit like 2015, only 71% of Americans.
Yeah.
And now let's fast forward all the way here to 2022.
Right.
65% of the U.S. population identifies as Christian.
Yep.
Now, you've got reporters actually just a couple of weeks ago, I'm not even going to give his name any thought. He's a reporter up in Cleveland, wrote that the U.S. is not a Christian country. It is a diversified culture of various religions, and that's what's made us great. Well, I'm going to disagree here in the garage because I'm going to go back and basically I'm just going to quote our founding fathers, a lot of them, just a few, on things that they said. Let's go back to George Washington, our first U.S. president. While we are zealously performing the duties of good citizens and soldiers, we certainly ought not to be inattentive to the higher duties of religion, to the distinguished character of patriot. It should be our highest glory to add the more distinguished character of Christian. John Adams, our second U.S. president and signer of the Declaration of Independence. Suppose a nation in some distant region should take a Bible for their only law book, and every member should regulate his conduct by the precepts there exhibited. Every member would be obliged in conscience to temperance, frugality, and industry, to justice, kindness, and charity towards his fellow men, and to piety, love, and reverence towards Almighty God. What a utopia, what a paradise would this region be?
True.
John Hancock, first signer of the Declaration of Independence. Resistance to tyranny becomes the Christian and social duty of each individual. Continue steadfast and, with proper sense of your dependence on God, nobly defend those rights which heaven gave, and no man ought to take from us. Patrick Henry, ratifier of the U.S. Constitution. It cannot be emphasized too strongly or too often that this great nation was founded not by religionists, but by Christians, not on religions, but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. For this very reason, peoples of their faiths have been afforded asylum, prosperity, and freedom to worship here in the U.S.
Before you go on to your next point, I want to take that from Patrick Henry and say it's interesting how the people who want to constantly try to push everything and direct it away from Christianity, to direct it away from those precepts, they do a disservice to our nation, number one, because they are constantly trying to remove any sort of moral boundaries, any sort of guidelines, any sense of obligation to something greater than ourselves. And then it's not those people, though, who marvel later when the society begins to crumble, when the facade begins to come apart, because they're doing it for that purpose and of that intent. But also, Patrick Henry makes the point, and I think it's very valid and something that we need to ponder for ourselves, that because of our Christian values, because of our Christian faith, people of all faiths here in this nation have found a place of refuge to worship as they see fit and to live in freedom and prosperity. And that is never discussed. They always just say, oh, the bigoted Christians. No, because of this nation, it is in other nations of other faiths where you are not permitted to believe as you wish or practice your faith as you see fit.
And absolutely. And it was said best right there at the end. And that they get asylum here. Yeah. Asylum here. Yes, you can worship who you want, but don't come into this country. Don't try to change it. Don't try to overshadow it. And don't try to state that it was founded on other things other than Christianity.
Yes.
You want others to look up, folks? Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Samuel Adams, James Madison, John Quincy Adams, William Penn, the founder of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Roger Sherman, Benjamin Rush, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, that's just to name a few of our founding fathers. The list goes on and on and on and on. If you want to find out what we were, what we are, and where we stand in faith, that's where we stand in the garage. We'll drill that more and more with each passing show, but just to keep in mind, folks, that this is a Christian nation. I don't care how much you want to try to wash it out in current culture. Well, not going to be doing it here in the garage.
Amen.
Amen. And with that, you know what that calls for, don't you, Patriot?
What's that, Buzz?
It is time for a constitutional moment.
I like that.
What do you got for us this week there,
well,
bro?
After the test last week, I've been working through this as we've gotten ready leading up to bringing the show back. I decided the constitutional moment, we're going to make it very simple. I'm not going to try to get crazy with it, not going to try to do anything out of the ordinary. I have seen repeatedly over the last few years on social media and other places,
okay,
the statement that the Constitution doesn't need to be rewritten. It needs to be reread. So what I've decided with the constitutional moment, we're going to take some time to sort of reread in little bite-sized pieces, a few minutes each week, something to discuss. So this week, we're going to start off with the preamble. Here we go. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, here's kind of the important thing I wanted to hit on this week. Number one, that was basically an afterthought.
Okay.
Gouverneur Morris, who was a member of the Committee of Style, which I thought was just fantastic. Committee of Style. You're doing the Constitution, and Gouverneur Morris was the member of the Committee of Style.
Okay.
He actually drafted the near final text of the Constitution. And while he did that, he placed in the Constitution the preamble, put it in there at the beginning.
Okay.
Now, I thought it was important because anybody who's been around anything to do with the Constitution over the years of their life, you hear various things come out about the preamble, our arguments for, against, this, that, the other.
Okay.
It was a common practice during that era to add preambles to documents, right?
All right.
The preamble has no substantive legal meaning. It doesn't do anything. It is not part of doing something specific. They are declaratory. They neither grant nor limit power, okay? And this concept was sustained by the Supreme Court in Jacobson v. Massachusetts in 1905. Now, Justice Joseph Story said, "It's true," and I quote, "its true office is to expound the nature and extent and application of the powers actually conferred by the Constitution." The powers, actually. Now notice it says powers, right? And that came from his commentaries on the Constitution of the United States in 1833. So I use a book on here, and I'll show you real quick, called The Heritage Guide to the Constitution. Edwin Meese III. There's a second edition right now, but you can go to heritage.org and find a copy of that you can use free. If you go to heritage.org/Constitution, you can find that there. It mentions in its commentary, because this is the great part, it gives you the text of the Constitution, but then you get commentaries from all sorts of different constitutional scholars and legal scholars in that book. It's a fantastic reference if you want to learn about it. It mentions there are 6 purposes, 6 principles in the Constitution, in the preamble, right? 1, to form a more perfect union. Now, it actually goes into discussing a more perfect, right? Goes into talking about that part, and says it doesn't mean perfect, all right? It doesn't mean superseding any other form of government. It just means better than the other, right? Better than the last.
Okay.
Premise number 2, establish justice. Number 3, to ensure domestic tranquility. This is all the stuff we were just reading.
Right.
Number 5, promote the general welfare. And we'll get into more of that later on down the road, talking about the general welfare. There's more of that in the Constitution. And lastly, to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. And it goes into discussing the importance that it says there to ensure the blessings of liberty. It covers everything that the Constitution is meant to do, right?
Right.
And to sort of wrap things up and cover the whole piece, I want to read to you a comment from Forrest McDonald. He was a distinguished university research professor emeritus from the University of Alabama. His final comments on the preamble section of the Constitution were this, and I quote, "The preamble as a whole, then, declares that the Constitution is designed to secure precisely the rights proclaimed in the Declaration. The Constitution was therefore not the negation of the Revolution, it was the Revolution's fulfillment. What the Declaration sets forth as the reason for the people acting in the Revolution has been repeated in the preamble as the end for which the people exist as a people. And this end, most notably, is promised not just to the people, but to their posterity. In that sense, it emphatically endorses the transcendent moral purpose of both the Revolution and the move to ordain and establish the Constitution. The preamble is far more a statement of the people's duties than their hopes, duties by which they are honor-bound to hold the government both politically and legally accountable." I want to say that one more time. I want that to sink in, right?
Okay.
We as the people, we as the receivers, okay, and our posterity of what the framers conducted and did in bringing us this form of government, this republic, right? It is a statement of the people's duties, more so than their hopes, duties by which they are honor-bound to hold the government both politically and legally accountable. And that's our constitutional moment this week on the preamble.
And that's awesome. And, the great thing is, folks, my Patriot, being my brother, when we were growing up, he's always had a passion for this. And when I was younger, I didn't want nothing to do with this stuff. So basically, he's got me more and more into this over the years. And when I joined Garage Politics back when we originally started this whole deal, and I was being the producer and everything else, it's amazing how quick I started picking up on things, and then curiosity hit, and I wanted to find out more. So another thing you can do, folks, is these little things right here. I carry this with me. I read it from time to time. It's literally the Constitution of the United States of America, and they got it all. They got the Bill of Rights. They got the Declaration of Independence. It's a little. You could buy these in little bookstores. You could find them. Heck, you could find them online. Places, not meaning to plug Amazon or anything, but heck, you could buy it there. But it's just a thought, guys. If you haven't ever delved into our Constitution, do it. Yeah. It's really interesting to go back and see historically, and it might even wake you up a little bit, and you start seeing, oh, crud, our government's really doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing.
There's tons of that we will cover in the coming months, right, as we go through the Constitution. And it's all of those documents, the notes from the founding convention, right?
Yes.
Just tons of information. So anyway,
that's awesome stuff. Oh, know what that means, don't you?
I don't know. What
that means it's time to name our tool of the week. Yeah, drilling it in.
Yeah. You have to go way back to remember the tool of the week.
Actually, yeah, we used to name, and here, because we got so many segments, unlike back in the old day, tool of the week won't be every single week, but once in a while, when something really dumb happens, let's just say.
The word you're looking for is egregious.
There you go. I knew the walking dictionary over here would figure out something. But anyway, so we want to name somebody that's a tool of the week, and they're literally a tool. And this week, it goes to the U.S. Senate.
No.
The whole U.S. Senate.
You mean the Senate is full of tools?
It's a tool bag. It's literally a tool bag.
It occurs to me that when we were
led by a bag.
doing the show originally, a tool was an easily understandable concept. I wonder if younger people who might pick up the show even understand what we're talking about.
What did he say? A tool? Is he a screwdriver? A hammer?
Being. I mean, really.
That's so mean. That's hate speech. But the U.S. Senate is our tool of the week, and you know why? Because they passed the Inflation Reduction Act.
No.
Now, here's the thing, folks. Inflation reduction. Okay, let that sink in for a second. Inflation reduction. How do we reduce inflation? Well, according to the U.S. Senate, it's to give tax breaks for renewable energy. Actually, they're allocating $113 billion towards this. Now, mind you, everybody, okay, let's say you don't really know a whole lot. You are aware, first off, the U.S. government has no money. None.
Well, it doesn't produce.
It doesn't
anything.
produce any money. Well, they got our tax dollars, but
manure. They do produce loads.
Yes,
of manure.
they produce tons of that. But anyway, so tax breaks for renewable energy. Great. We're going to tax big corporations. Fantastic, like Amazon and Exxon and Microsoft. They're going to pay a higher tax because that's how we reduce inflation.
I know you understand.
Yes.
I don't know that everybody else. Corporations don't actually pay taxes. We do.
We understand that. If you don't understand that, look it up. Look down and drill down into that. Lithium refineries are going to receive help from this bill. So actually, there's not a single U.S. battery plant that can meet current law requirements for production. But through this new plan, some of these provisions are going to be waived. So basically, there's provisions in there to get rid of the laws they put in place that govern the lithium battery producers so that they can actually produce stuff.
So wait a second. So first of all, they've created a circumstance where they need these lithium refineries taken care of or to operate and do this.
Yes,
but
for renewable energy.
But none of our domestic plants can meet the regulations that are part of the bill.
There you go.
So we're going to create a subsidy, number one, to pay more tax dollars to the lithium refineries, and we're going to suspend the rules that were made by the government to govern the production of the lithium.
Oh, yeah.
So never mind. I don't even.
That's just magical. I did it again. It's magical.
Yeah.
They're going to negotiate drugs.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll have to do that one week. The other thing is they're going to negotiate drug prices. This is going to help the elderly and our senior citizens. But not immediately, because this is going to take quite a few years to get this into effect. So they're not going to see the immediate change.
But the prices on drugs, of all the things in the society and the economy right now that are having problems with inflation, drugs are flat. They're not going up.
Big pharma. Ooh. All right. 1% tax on stock buybacks. So they already tax you on your investments and everything else. Well, let's do it when you buy back stocks. So that's...
Well, but that's on the corporation. Again, this is on the corporation. See, they don't like that. They don't like, because when you buy back stock, number one, the executives and the shareholders make more money.
Yes.
Because it drives up the price of the stock. Number two, it means that the companies are becoming more... well, I shouldn't say they're becoming more privatized, because I don't think they buy enough to make the difference. But the government doesn't like that.
No, of course not. Well, it's not lying in their pockets.
And it's more money for them. They don't.
You want it. In reality, the list goes on. And I don't want to drill it home, or I don't want to make it so that it's just totally boring. Actually, I tell you what, I've got a few ideas. I've said it before in the garage. I'm going to say it again right now. You want things that actually reduce the inflation in this country, things that can save and cut against our national deficit, which, guess what? If the national deficit was down, inflation wouldn't be impacted.
Burn down the Fed. Fire the politicians.
Hey, watch saying that. Yeah, that's hate.
Well, you actually reduce inflation.
Let's eliminate the IRS. Let's eliminate it. That billions of dollars in jobs up there yearly. Look, I get it. We got to pay. We got to help pay for our country. Fine, I got no problem paying taxes, but let's do it in the form of sales tax. Increase the sales tax.
A fair tax.
A fair tax, yes. Yeah. Tax everything that I buy. Everything I buy, that's it. But no more IRS, no more federal tax on your payroll and your hard-earned money and stuff like that. Best one is win something in the lottery. I did that one time here on a scratch-off. Won $5,000. They took $2,000 of it.
Never going to happen, though. You know why? You'll put the accountants, the politicians, all those IRS employees out of it. They're never going to do it.
But let's cut all the pensions for all these lifetime politicians. These people that got the extra security details and all that other stuff.
Give them a 401k.
There you go.
You live by the same rules we live by.
There you go. Put term limits on those suckers, too, because I guarantee you they'll quit making a bunch of these stupid laws that benefit them if they have to go out and live by the laws that they just made. And then the other thing, let's clear off death row, people. Let's clear off death row. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it one more time. If you're found guilty of a heinous crime and you're sentenced to death in this country, your law team has 6 months. 6 months to find.
I think 12 months is good.
12 months, okay.
I
Even
go for
a year.
12
I'm fine for a year to find irrefutable evidence that reverses it and finds you innocent without a shadow of a doubt. If in that year you can't, you take them down to the gas chamber, you take them down to the gallows, I don't care, put them in front of a firing squad, inject them with lethal chemicals, put them up to an electric chair. Guys, quit going, oh, it's inhumane. It's not inhumane. They didn't think about humanity when they were taking lives. And the thing is, $71 billion a year as of 2021 go into the federal and to the state prisons to keep it running. That's billions of dollars, folks. Put the other inmates, the ones that aren't the heinous criminals, that they were thieves, stuff like that, put them to work 18 hours a day. Tough labor, hard labor, working, doing stuff that puts back into the economy. That'll help drive things down right there, folks.
Now, the other thing is, too, there's got to be some level of reform.
Yes.
And I don't want to get into the whole thing about it, but there has to be some level of reform about the people that end up in prison, because there's way too much of that nonsense going on.
Way too much. So, with that said, that's our tool of the week. U.S. Senate, congratulations, you bunch of tools. All right. With that, you know what that's calling for, because we're getting ready to head into the home stretch of the show. It's time for Patriot to get on his soapbox.
I hope you're ready for this one. You know what? The first week, I'm going to get in trouble the first week. So I'm looking up on my shelf. Actually, I was just sitting here when I said that to you. I looked up and there's my copy of The Last Lion.
I was looking at Ultraman.
The biography of Winston Churchill. And because Churchill had a habit of getting himself into trouble regularly. He was oddly enough, with the well-known historical arguments and tiffs between Patton and Montgomery.
Right.
Churchill had a life fascination with promoting himself, and I'm not much of a self-promoter when it comes to that, but he was always getting himself into trouble with people because they didn't like the way that he forged ahead and he was so certain about what he believed in. But
right.
Anyway, be that as it may, let's talk about the soapbox. So I heard a story today, listening to the news, about a CNN reporter. Now, this is not new necessarily. This has already kind of gotten started on Twitter and other places, but it's picking up momentum now. So this is going to be one of the new issues, and that is this CNN reporter, Tara John, I believe it is. Tara John is a London-based reporter.
No, you CNN. Even named her.
I don't. Hey, look, you're a public figure. I'm sorry, this was your report.
No, I figure they're not even going to mention. But okay, go ahead.
Claimed that a drag queen event that targeted at children promoted compassion and inclusion. Now, this was Tara John's statement.
Okay.
But John went on to say in the article, the term, quote, groomer, unquote, is a homophobic stereotype used to falsely smear queer people and their supporters as child sex abusers. Now, I don't want to argue with anybody about this. This is really simple. I'm going to make this really simple for you before I sort of go into the rest of this. We're just going to skip right to the bottom line on this issue.
Sounds good.
You do not, in any circumstance, in any world or any universe in their believed multiverse, I don't care what you call it, under no circumstance whatsoever do I ever agree, and do most normal human beings agree with you sexualizing children. Now, that is a period, exclamation point, end of story, done when it comes to that issue. I don't care.
I agree with that.
I don't care how you live your life, okay? And this is why, by the way, the statement I'm about to make is why we mark the show, even though we don't get nasty or dirty or
no.
But this is why the show is marked on YouTube and that as not made for children.
Right.
So if you're sitting there with your kid, I may say something that they don't want to hear. It's not going to be nasty. I'm not going to cuss or anything.
Well, no, we don't do that.
But we're talking reality here.
We've toned down.
If you want to live your life, okay, and your thing is intimate relations with vegetables and flora and fauna, whatever it is that you do, okay, that's between you and God.
Right.
I'm not getting in the way of how you live your life. I don't have to agree with it. No. I will not agree with it. Under no circumstances will you ever make me stand up and say, yes, that's so wonderful that you love flowers, and I mean love them literally. No, never going to have that discussion.
Nope.
Okay? You live your life the way you want to live. What I will not, under any circumstances, permit and stand by and go, oh, well, that is just what it is. No, not going to let you go after the kids. And that is the whole purpose. Right now what's going on is this blown up, and I'm saying this, I want to make sure it's clear that I understand. I have heard commentary from others, and there's a quote I'm going to bring up here in just a second that mirrors it, that are part of the gay community, okay, what have you, who have stood up and made it perfectly clear. I'm sorry. Even some of these transvestites and transgender folks who have said, no, you don't do this with kids.
Right.
This isn't appropriate. You don't bring kids into this.
Well, and I just want to expand upon that real quick, Patriot, because, and I know you got points to make and everything.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But I've always taken the view, as far as the kids go, first off, I'm a firm believer we're destroying our youth anyways. This whole pushing them into being actors and singers and stars and celebrity stuff, mentally, emotionally, physically, they're not ready. They're not ready. And I can't recall how many times growing up we heard from our parents, there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
We spoke about it a little bit on last week's show, but we need to drill it home again. Guys, children don't need to be said, look, what you want to do in the bedroom is fine. What I want to do in the bedroom, I'm not going to go out and advocate that or promote it or anything. I'm not broadcasting it. It needs to stop. Whatever you want to do sexually, that's your call. We don't need to beat the children with it, and I am tired of them indoctrinating children too early. I don't care what it is. Politics, certain music, violence, everything. Quit damaging our youth.
And the important aspect of that, Buzz, that is a fantastic point. The important deal here is those things are the responsibilities of their parent.
Bingo.
Or parents.
Bingo.
Okay?
Bam.
When I'm ready, when I know that my children, okay, and mine are growing up now, they're older. We've already been through this. But when my child is ready for that discussion, I'll have that discussion with my child, not the teacher. Okay, I've actually heard reports and heard people discussing how they were told right there in the face of a teacher, hey, my job is to educate your child. That's none of your business. You stay out of it. I beg your pardon. It is my business. No. That's my child. Okay? A parent, this is the erosion of parental rights, that whole discussion that's gone on for years. And this isn't just this issue. I want to use this also to make the point. This all has come together, okay? This is a confluence of various issues that have come together, from parental rights to the discussion of children's rights, ostensibly, and all these types of things. This idea of public bathrooms, and I can have men and women's bathrooms and women in men's bathrooms, and you're the gender, you say. Okay, that's all of that is being used as a wedge to get at the children.
Yes.
I am not going to mince words about this. I'm sorry. If you're out there advocating for men to be in ladies' bathrooms and ladies' locker rooms and in ladies' sports and vice versa, if that's what you're advocating for, you are part of the process that is targeting and hunting our children to destroy them, to destroy the republic, and to destroy this nation and this world. Absolutely, without question.
Agreed.
Whether you understand that or not. Whether you're doing it willingly or you're just a dupe that's going along for the ride because you think it would be really nice to be kind to everybody, and you shouldn't hurt anybody's feelings because they're humans, and that wouldn't be nice. I'm sorry.
Where's my box of tissue? I can give it to him right now.
I'm not about hurting your feelings. I'm not about getting into your space. I'm not about messing. But what I am about is telling you don't have a right to advocate policies that step into my space. Right. You don't get to. And additional to that is this concept. If you're out there and you are a parent and you're taking a child, I don't care what age they're, a child, okay, who we have decided as a society is not yet at an age where they can sign a contract that can be legally binding, cannot make a good enough decision to get married, or all kinds of things that we say they're not allowed to do. And you're out there taking that child and saying, but they are perfectly capable of deciding, mommy and daddy, I'm a girl, I'm not a boy. Now, what you do as a parent in raising your child and teaching them is up to you. But when you start saying, well, okay, now I'm going to put you on puberty blockers, and at the age of, 8, 9, 10, 12, whatever, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to have a life-altering surgery to remove your genitalia so that we can turn you into a girl.
And we're going to start injecting you with hormones.
Hormones and everything.
Yeah.
All right. That's child abuse.
It is.
Because it is a proven fact that somewhere around 80+% of children, when they have these sort of issues with, I'm kind of a tomboy, or I'm a little more feminine, or I'm a little more masculine, or what have you.
Right.
By the time they go through puberty and into most of them, they work right out of that.
Yeah.
They do. It's not that big of a deal. It's really, we know this historically, that it is a very small percentage of young people who actually have serious mental issues with dysphoria and dysmorphia and body issues and what have you.
Right.
But the issue is those were always treated. We treated those. We worked with the young person, to deal with that. And I'm not even going to go down the road yet and get into the whole issue of the suicide rate amongst transgenders, even those who have transitioned.
Yes.
And no, it's not because people are being mean to you, okay? I'm going to go back to what I said years ago when we were having discussions about the gay and lesbian community and what have you. Look, I've even written about this, and some people, I'm certain, took it as being mean. The truth is, if you're a confident, happy person who believes in what you're doing and you like the life that you're living and you're content with it, then be a happy person. Quit looking to me for your approval. I'm not going to give you any. I live your life, do what you want. But I want to make this additional point. I'm sure this is going to be an ongoing issue. We're going to talk about this, and that's fine. We'll have these discussions. One of the things that people who have listened to Garage Politics in the past will know. We're not afraid of discussing any issue.
Nope.
I am not going to hate anybody. No. I don't hate none of us. We have never in the garage hated anybody. Have we made some jokes that have been a bit off color over the years? Yes.
When I was younger, yes,
okay.
I was bad about that.
Have we been a little harsh at times? Yes, we have. But we have made the point. I know that I have made the point repeatedly. I've heard Buzz make it when we were back in the day. I've heard Don and Jack have even made these points. The idea that, look, as a Christian, I love everybody. I don't care who you are. Doesn't matter to me who you are, what you follow.
Nope.
Okay?
Love you, man.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say something that some people will find controversial. If you absolutely hate this country and you desire to destroy us and you're going to commit terrorist acts, as a human being, because I know God created you, I love you. I love you because Christ gives me the ability to do that.
Yes.
Believe me, I don't want to. I don't want to.
The human side of us says no.
But God tells me to love everybody.
Yes.
Now, do I hate the fact that you hate me and hate my nation and my republic so much that you want to destroy it?
Absolutely.
I can't stand that. Now, I will stand and defend that. But just like in this case, I don't hate, if you're a transgender, if you are whatever you are, you want to run around with green hair and purple rings around your neck and piercings everywhere that you can put them. I don't care.
It's
That's your
all
life.
good.
Live the life you want. Okay? But you do not have, you have the right to think anything you want. You do not have the right to tell me that I'm not allowed to speak when I tell you, you put that stuff on, I think you look like a bonehead.
And they've already heard me say it a few times, heard you say it a few times, and you're going to hear it as long as you come back here to the garage. You're going to hear it over and over and over again. The lost art of being able to agree to disagree, folks. Look, we don't have to agree on everything. There's too much hate. There's too much negativity. Quit focusing on that. Quit trying to destroy our youth. Believe what you want to believe. That's fine. But don't think that you have the right to force everybody else to be what you want to be.
And this Tara John, who put the post up about the groomers.
Yes.
She got a response from a group called Gays Against Groomers.
Okay.
Think of that acronym for a second. An account on Twitter that describes itself as, quote, a coalition of gays against the sexualization and indoctrination of children.
Okay.
They immediately fired back at the claim, and I cannot repeat the exact response. It was something to the effect when she said that this was a homophobic stereotype. Their response was, no, it's effing not. So,
way to filter there, Patriot. Way to filter. That was excellent.
Hey, that was pretty good.
I need to get you a little beep button when you do that kind of stuff.
So
I just need to get a beep because right now all I got is
but wait a second. If we go out there, and like I said, we'll probably get in trouble in some form or another for having this discussion. That's fine. The truth is, reasonable human beings do not agree with this policy. No. I don't care what you are. I don't care whether you're straight, gay, bisexual, whatever. I don't care if you're a purple alien with 12 eyes who's been living here for 50 years undetected.
Yes.
Regular, ordinary people look at this and they do not agree with sexualizing children. That's the principle of the Soapbox this week. And so I have decided, since we can't say groomer anymore, we are from now on.
What are the dogs going to be taken care of?
Going to refer. No. Well, we can use it for the dogs. We just can't. Okay. You can't call. Okay. You can't call.
There goes Buzz again.
You can't call predators that are after children anymore a groomer, whether they're in politics or in the LGBTQ community, or they're just a leftist who wants to destroy the republic. So we are now, from now on Garage Politics, we will refer to these people in whatever flavor they come as social sexual engineers.
Okay. My whole bottom line is what I said earlier: leave the children alone.
Yeah, leave
plain
the
and
kids
simple.
alone.
I don't care where you stand. Leave the kids alone. Hey, that's about it, Patriot. Good job, man. Love that. That
felt
was
much
awesome.
better this week.
It did.
We got the bugs worked out last week, knocked off a little rust. We're ready to rock.
A little smoother.
Yeah.
So we're going to remind you one last time: www.garagepolitics.com or .net. Either or. Doesn't matter. You pick. You have the freedom to do so.
Ever evolving. Go there and check it out. There'll be posts and all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, you know what that is?
There.
It is
time
there.
to wrap it up. I am so sorry.
That's all good. But hey, guys, thanks for support Garage Politics. We're going to have some merch coming up soon. Leave us likes over on YouTube, on our social media, every place you get a chance to. Hit us up on Twitter. Email us.
I'm not sure the email's working right now. There was a problem with the email. Okay. Do not hesitate, though, to go to either YouTube or Rumble and like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us.
We need those likes.
Gotta
we
have
need those followers so that eventually we can get back to a live show, or who knows, maybe a Joe McNeil or somebody will pick us up again one day or something.
Listen to us. Listen to us, even if you hate us, because it gives you fuel for that anger.
Yes, fire. Oh, but with that,
it's only 30 minutes a week.
Who's All right, guys. Well, that's it for us here in the garage. We appreciate you checking us out. And until next week, we're out of here.